He was supposed to... Do you have any idea what you've done? What sort of power you're playing with? You absorbed everything he was, everything he would do. You changed the weave of destiny itself. Because of you, there are deeds he won't do, children of his that won't be born, victims that won't die when they were supposed to. Yes, I'm aware, but there's still no telling what damage you could do if you aren't careful. You're much more dangerous than I thought. We need to get you to the Theater of Fate right away. The Theater of Fate. I never thought I'd see it. We Fate Weavers never fully understood the power of this place. Seems there's a lot we don't understand. Scaru? Gods, I should have brought another bottle. Another victory! No surprise that Niskaru found its way to this place of power. Everything about these ruins is dedicated to this room, and at the center of it all is the Destiny Stone. With it, the Fae taught the Fate Weavers the answers to the deepest mysteries of fate. Put your hands on the stone, and maybe we can find answers to your own mysteries. The Theater of Fate was once an Irathi stronghold. Mortals and immortals worked together to build a site of total understanding. Since then, it's been lost, rediscovered, and abandoned all over again. Mortals can't stand the knowledge, and immortals simply don't care. This temple was built by the Irathi, and it's been here as long as recorded history. But the Destiny Stone was made by the first Fate Weavers. The legends say that they drew on ageless wisdom to build the stone. But with our order so scattered now, it hasn't been used in years. Just put your hand on the Destiny Stone. It'll show me. The Destiny Stone came apart at your touch. And all around you, the tapestry of fate, unweaving itself. And there at the core was the Codex of Destiny. The wisdom that the Fae used to help the first Fate Weavers understand the nature of the weave. Don't you see what this means? Yes, it is. And from what I can tell, you're the one changing it. With every breath, you're changing how lives begin and end. The way the Codex of Destiny came to you out of the stone, that's got to mean something too. But I'll be damned if I can read this thing. No. You can still die or fail. But fate doesn't enforce the weave on you. Your gift is freedom, to you and to those around you. And that means I owe you a... Wait, what's that?
Purge the abomination! In the name of Godflaw!
Know you're not working with the Tuatha.
I don't care if you trust me. I'm much more interested in your friend here. You're welcome. I'm beginning to think that these Tuatha don't like you. Now why do you think that might be? After all, someone who can change the fate of the world, who wouldn't want you? I'm not sure, but they're very well informed about your location. They came straight here from Didenhill, but they're not nearly as interesting as you. Especially now that they're dead. Now it's my turn. Why are you here? Ha! Knowing the future is for fools. Who reads the end of a book before it's time? Save your attention for the present. Like that codex you found? Our scholars thought those were all gone from the world, but you're just full of surprises. Good luck understanding it. That's Fey knowledge. They don't even have a written language. The stone is simply embedded with what they know, unseeable to mortals. For something like that, you'll need more than just any lore master. In fact, you may want to go straight to the top. Once you deal with these Tuatha, perhaps you should visit the High King in Issa. I'm sure someone as resourceful as you can find their way in. Be on your way. Something on your mind? That codex isn't just a complicated lore stone. It seems to tell a tale most Fae don't want to hear, and created by High King Titarian himself, no less. Interesting. We are the charmed, the subtle, and the inspired. In happier days, we were the loftiest of the mortal races. We despise open war. But for decades, the Tuatha have been at war with us, pushing into our lands and forcing us to take up arms. For a long time, they were content to keep to their play of the summer and winter courts. Now we fight Gadflow and the Tuatha for our very existence. A close friend once told me, strive to be whatever you want to be. Fate might be a lie, but if it isn't, then worrying about it won't change a thing. The gardens of Issa, home of the Summer Fae, once spread from the forests of Dalentarth, across the plains of Erethel, and even through the deserts of Ditir. Between the madness of the war and the spread of man, Alfar, and Nome, the Summer Fae lose a little more ground every day. A tragedy for them. The Winter Court, or the Unseelie, embrace the destruction and decay of nature. They aren't evil, but they aren't exactly the best of friends. Normally they share power peacefully with the Summer Court, but since the Tuatha have seized power, there is neither peace nor predictability. The Tuatha are a radical sect of Fae within the Winter Court, led by Gadflow and his insane rants about their new god. They've taken power and declared war on mortals. They use raw Prismia to enhance their power, and their devotion borders on madness. But the most terrifying thing to the Fae is simply the fact that their siblings have changed so completely. Is that the name of this place? I was just following those thugs. Thought I could steal something valuable from them, but all I got was you. You haven't been around much, have you? The Tuatha have been pressing west from their home in Alabastra. Right now, they're only threatening my people. But if we fall, the Tuatha will turn their eyes to the other mortal races. The Summer Court, or the Seelie Fae if you prefer, embody the growth and energy of nature, but they can still be as aloof and uncaring as a brutal summer day. The current High King of the Fae is Titarian, the wisest of the Summer Court. While Gadflow has undermined the Winter Court, he tries to keep their cycle in balance. We've known for a long time that Prismia crystals allow us to store and focus magical power. The gnomes use it in their grander inventions, when they can get it. But we have no idea how Gadflow got a hold of so much of it. It makes his Tuatha the most dangerous army I've ever seen. Titarian isn't quite what you'd expect from the High King of Summer, but he hasn't got the arrogance of his cousins, or their cheer. Ever since Gadflow killed the High King of Winter and started the war, Titarian has become distant and melancholy, and blind to the dangers around him. Neralem is the oldest living mortal. He remembers the time before even the Fae called these lands home. You should see how they cherish him. He rarely grants an audience to visitors. His tenders say he knows the future as well as the past. It makes him very particular about what he says. The Fae do not have a written language, so their tales are their lifeblood, their history, and their future all in one. The House of Ballads is where they enshrine these legends and celebrate them time and again. That old coward. He may have lived 100 heroic lives, but he's lost the moment he faces something truly new. Pathetic. Oh, me? I'm a friend. For now, at least. Oh, me? I'm a friend. For now, at least. Be on your way.
We can't trust her. Never met a Doppelfar who'd give me a straight answer, even with a sword at their throat. Present company accepted, of course. But she wasn't wrong about that codex. Just be careful doing anything she suggests. Meanwhile, we can't just ignore the Tuatha that are tracking you. We need to do something about them. She said they came through Didenhill, didn't she? They don't belong in these lands, so they probably left a trail wide as an Eden's backside. Meet me there, and we'll track them down. Maybe we can find out why they're after you. Or at least how they can find you so easily. I've got some final rites to perform before I leave this place. Good luck. I've got a lot of prayers to say before I leave here again. Meet you at Lock Night.
I love all these glitches, man. So hilarious. Oh, Lord. So glitchy.
Ah, the castle. This tells me that your tavern will be a part of Loch Dyden for decades to come.
Aye.
Last month you told me that the plague would take us all.
I know, but that's not what fate says anymore.
Damn it, Agarth. You're cut off.
Yeah, and I bet I know whose fault that is.
I?
No Grillricast should ever have to deal with one as base as you. Be gone! Get away from me, you damned nuisance. I'm Alfwig Grillricast. I don't need to put up with the likes of you. Back, you imbecile! These robes are woven of Canarok gossamer. You won't touch them. Get away from me, you damned nuisance. I'm Alfwig Grillricast.
It's your fault that I can't pay my tab, you know? I wasn't ever supposed to come back here in the first place. I've spent the last 20 years knowing what fate had in store for me, and then you... Damn it. I thought I had my life figured out. Not for a Fate Weaver, it isn't. But that's just the problem. When I was young, I thought I could overcome anything. Now, I know otherwise. I fought beasts the size of trees, was celebrated by mortals and Fae alike. When I was initiated into the Fate Weavers, I thought it was a reward for my good deeds. The first time I saw my own fate, I realized it was nothing but a curse. My own death, of course. But not a hero's death as I had always dreamed. I was going to die alone and unknown, killed by an Etin and used for stew. It was a terrible end, but I knew it was part of fate's greater plan. Then you came and changed that future. You stole my part in the tapestry. I was at peace with knowing the worst. But what do I do now that there's nothing to know? You're right. My glory days don't have to be over. And as long as I'm around you, I don't know how my story will end. That means I've got to make sure you stay around in one piece. Maybe this old trinket from my youth will help. After all, I don't just owe you my life. I owe you my future. Why, I once tracked the Yeth of Avgrun on a moonless night by smell alone. Fey or not, I could have tracked those Tuatha sober. They've set up in a cavern north of town, complete with some way of scrying your location. That's how they found you so easily. I have a plan, but it'll take the both of us to work. These soldiers were sent out with one purpose: finding you and making sure you stay dead. Everything else, the Well, Arden, Hughes, have all been collateral damage. They're using something big to track you. They call it the Eyes of Tirnoch. Smash it, and they won't be following you anymore. The main entrance is heavily guarded and will require a strong attack. The other route is trapped. It'll need a subtler approach. I don't have an answer for that. I can't imagine what about you made Gadflow send his troops across the continent. Straightforward and direct. A warrior after my own heart. I'll cover the back and make sure they can't escape to report back to whoever sent them here. Let's track down some trouble. I'd love to chat, but don't we have more pressing matters? His army is locked in a siege in Cluricon, but small groups sometimes make their way to Erethal. The eyes of Tirnoch are two immense Prismere mirrors. Long as the Tuatha have them trained on you, they'll find you anywhere. You know the Summer Court and Issa? Well, the Winter Court are their darker siblings. They're not evil, but they're definitely not nice. He once offered me an honorary knighthood after I slayed the Dream Eater of Amora. He was quite gracious when I turned him down. Strange crystal, Prismere. It's normally a shade of blue, but when you treat it and charge it with magic, it turns blood red. Thanks for giving an old man another chance. It's good to know I've got a future again. And even better not to know what it is. Whoever that Aelin Shear is, I don't think she's our enemy. If she wanted us dead, she could have killed us while we were weakened. But she's still trouble. Reminds me of a dark elf who left me half naked and tied to a bar guest once. Now those were the days. The Crystal War, they've been calling it. 10 years ago, they say it's their sacred duty to cleanse the mortals from their lands. It's been going back and forth for years. Where there's war, there's soldiers nervous about their fate. And that's where I come in. The immortals inscribe their knowledge of fate into the living stone. I always thought it was a poetic way of talking about the theater. But there it is, in your hands. Keep it close, child. The Destiny Stone showed us the tapestry of fate, but your power must have consumed it all. Everything except the wisdom at its core, the Codex of Destiny. Used to be a quiet little town, but even out here they're feeling the effects of the war. More settlers, more bandits, and more trouble. But thanks to your help, it looks like they just might make it through. They ought to build you a statue. Let's track down some trouble.
Oh,